Alrighty, hello YouTube. Welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Cryptic Coil, and today's video is going to be a little bit different in the sense that it's not just going to be a book haul. I'm going to show you a bunch of things that I bought this week, starting with a couple of bottles of cologne. All right, so I went to Burlington Coat Factory and I found this bottle of cologne, okay? And the company that makes it is Beverly Hills Polo Club. I don't know if this company is like a knockoff of Ralph Lauren's Polo brand, but I feel like it is easy to mistake a product made by this company with a product made by Ralph Lauren's Polo brand. And I've seen these fragrances in the bargain bins for years, like at Ross Marshall's, TJ Maxx, Burlington Coat Factory, Kohl's, places like that. And I've never even entertained the idea of buying one. Well, I saw this one and it sounded interesting. Vanilla Oud. And I think it was only like $11.99. So I said, you know what the hey, it sounds interesting. I'll give it a shot. And so I tried it. I pulled the trigger on it, and it does have something in here that's slightly reminiscent of oud, but it's very faint. I've only tried it a couple of times, but it just doesn't really last, at least not on skin. I haven't tried it on clothes, but so far I'm really not impressed. And like I said, it was only $11.99, so I definitely think I got what I paid for. The next bottle that I want to show you, again, it was another cheapie, but I've tried this one and it's actually pretty good. It's by a company called Jean-Marc Paris, and this is what the bottle looks like, and it's actually decent. It was another cheapie, but it's definitely got something in there that really reminds me of Calvin Klein's Euphoria Gold for Men. Whatever ingredient they put in there it might be cumin, uh, cumin. I don't know how to pronounce that note, but it might be that note that kind of gives it kind of a golden metallic kind of edge, and it does have like something that's a little bit reminiscent of like a honey-like sweetness, but it says oud, and I don't detect oud in here. Off the top, I detect very strong citrus. I think I get both orange and lemon, and I've only tried this a couple of times, but it's not very strong, but it is very bright, and the citrus is very prominent in the beginning. So I'm actually thinking that this might seem like it's supposed to be like a fall winter type of fragrance, maybe an evening scent, just based on gold honey oud. But I'm actually wondering if it's a daytime summer fragrance. So I definitely need to test this one out a little bit more. All right, now I do have one more fragrance that I want to show you, and it's by a company that's kind of all the rage these days, and it's none other than Lattafa. And the fragrance is called Choco Overdose. And I Googled it to see what this is a clone of, and it was some like niche company that I'm not sure if I ever heard of. I think that some people compare it to like Montal or Montserrat's Chocolate Greedy. I don't really remember, but man, I do not like the bottle at all. So it looks like a chocolate cupcake. I mean, look at that cap. I mean, to me, that is ridiculous. It's just so gimmicky. The juice isn't bad though. The juice has a very deep fudge-like chocolate profile. I brought it to work. I've worn it. I've shown it to a few of the ladies that I work with. And when I was just ripping on the bottle, a couple of the girls told me, actually, I think it's kind of cute. I don't know. I, I just think it's stupid. I really do. It's kind of hard for me to take it seriously. But anyway, I mean, the juice is actually pretty good. I do think that the average guy could get away with it, but in my wearings of it so far, I kind of think it does lean a little bit more feminine, but it could totally, and I think it was marketed as unisex. But for the like fall and the winter, this is actually a really good chocolate gourmand scent for men and women. I just think that it leans a tad bit more feminine, but I think that's okay. Like I said, the average guy could definitely pull it off if they have a taste for really sweet dessert gourmand like fragrances such as this. All right, so moving on away from fragrances, I want to show you something. So I think I've had this guitar for about 2 years now. When I bought it, I actually showed it off in a book haul, and I absolutely love this guitar. I love this thing. Out of most of my guitars are 24 fret guitars with Floyd Rose tremolo bridges. They're, pointy metal guitars. Most of them are made by Jackson and ESP, ESP LTD. This one right here is a 22 fret Strat knockoff made by Samick, and it's part of the Greg Bennett series. And the model is a Malibu 2, and it says that right here on the truss rod cover. Well, it just says Malibu, but it's an MB2. Well, the reason, so this was a replacement guitar because I already had a guitar like this made by Squier. It was made in the 90s. It was made in China. There's a lot of people who are just really big fans of that line of Squiers because at the time, the ones that were coming out of China were made very well, and I really liked mine. I really did. But the white plate and the white knobs and the white pickups had yellowed with age, and it just kind of looked like it had been played in a smoky blues club every weekend for the last 20 something years. And there were some like chips, dents, and dings in the paint job, which some people actually really like. I like my stuff to be nice and pristine. Well, I ended up, you know, picking this up at Music Go Round. It was only $150, and when I saw it, and I saw that it was in better condition than my Squier, that looks very similar. One of the things that I really liked about it was the fact that it had a dual humbucker, or well, I mean, it had a humbucker in the bridge. So this is your bridge, and notice how you have like a single coil here in the neck, a single coil in the middle, and then two single coils right here near the bridge. So when you put two single coils right there, it's called a humbucker. For those of you who don't know your guitars. All right, well, I needed a humbucker. Okay, my Squier just had a single coil. This guitar right here had a humbucker. And so I decided to pick it up and play it while I was at Music Go Round. And if you usually on guitars like this, the dot inlays are usually dead center. But some companies will put off center dot inlays on some of their more like mid-priced or high-priced lines. And so when I saw that this one had, a humbucker with off center dot inlays, I was like, I need to check this thing out. Like, what's going on here? And then if you look at the headstock, you can see it glisten. That's because there's lacquer over the natural wood finish. You don't always see that. Even on a lot of really expensive guitars where they don't paint the headstock and they just leave it natural wood, they don't always put lacquer there. So I said, wow, there's definitely some detail on this guitar, and it's made by Samick. I don't know anybody that plays Samick or cares about Samick. None of my heroes, I think, have ever played a Samick guitar, but I'm going to go ahead and try it out. So I sat down and I played it for about 5 minutes. and I just fell in love with the neck. And this has pretty much been my go-to guitar for a very long, like as long as I've had it. Sometimes I don't even reach for my, really, sexy 24 fret metal guitars with the pointy headstocks and the ones that just look super metal. Like I don't even reach for those that much anymore. I play this more than anything. Well, I bought something for her. I decided she needs a makeover. Okay, she does. All right, because I've played her so much that I've realized that I'm keeping this guitar for life. I'm never gonna trade her. I'm never gonna sell her. I'm never gonna give her away. She's mine for life, and I probably want one or two or three more. I really like the tobacco burst paint job with the white plate. Well, if you notice that, like the tuning pegs are silver chrome, and so is the bridge. It's silver chrome. Well, this line of guitars is supposed to come with Grover tuners. Well, I bought this used from Music Go Round for $150, so I'm not the original owner. I suspect the original owner took the Grover tuning pegs off this guitar, put them on a different guitar that they owned, and then just put these generic no brand tuning pegs on here instead. Well, they do a fine job. This guitar stays in tune pretty well, but I've decided that I don't like the silver chrome hardware on her. I decided I wanted to go black. I think that she would look better with black hardware. So I ordered some locking tuners from Tone Ninja. And I just think that once I black her out, she's going to look pretty dang sexy. Yeah, so I'm going to put these on her. These are locking tuners. So since I don't have the Floyd Rose bridge and I don't have a locking nut right here, these things are going to lock the strings in tune as long as the strings stay properly stretched. And so I just want to kind of move over here. So these guys are coming out, and I'm putting black on her instead. Okay. My boss gave me a $200 gift card for my 21st anniversary at the company. And so I'm going to use that gift card to buy a black replacement bridge. And then I'm going to buy black pickups. So these pickups, they sound good. This is how you get your sound. But the pickups are white in color, and they sound, I think they're designed by Duncan's, which are really good. I really like designed by Duncan pickups. But I want these to be black. Oh, and then just today, I bought new knobs in black and a new tremolo switch cover. See how it's white to go with a plate and the knobs? I bought one in black. So I'm gonna black this thing out, and then she's ready to go. I upgraded to D'Addario locking straps. So since I decided that she's a keeper for life, we're practically married. I gotta give her a glow up. Okay, she's my baby, and she needs to look good for me, and she already does. She's just gonna, she's just gonna get a sexy makeover. That's all. All right. So we'll get into the books and stuff in a second. Okay. I did buy one more thing. So I've been wanting this for a while. I've been wanting it for a long time because I remember when it was at Spencer's back in 2005 5, I think. And I remember thinking, oh, wow, that looks really cool. But I mean, I'm never going to dress up for Halloween like that. I don't really like to put latex masks on my face for Halloween. And oh, yeah, so I remember when it was at Spencer's, it was only $39.99 back then. To at the time that just seemed like so much money. I was like, I don't even know what I would do with it. I want it just because it looks cool, but what would I do with it? And then, a couple decades later, I start, collecting these things, and I put them on, mannequin heads, and I stack them on top of my bookshelves in my living room. And so when I started doing that a couple years ago, I, remembered seeing this thing at Spencer's all those years ago. And for the last couple of years, I keep going to the Spirit Halloween store every year, and they never have one. Man, like this thing is scary looking. Like I'm a little scared actually, just looking at it this close. Okay, so yeah, it just came in the mail yesterday, and I was just, I just wanted to show it to you guys. I've wanted it for a very long time. I didn't buy it at the time because I didn't know what to do with it, and I thought it would just be a waste of money. But I went ahead and bought it online, and they were. I'm glad that they left a tag on it all these years. But yep, it's gonna look really good up on my bookshelf. Okay. So now we can get into the DVDs. So I bought two DVDs. I bought The Strangers, the unrated version, and I've never seen this movie. I think that around the time it came out, I was more into like supernatural horror, and this one was supposed to be like inspired by true events or something. And that's another thing that really turns me off is whenever they tell me that something was based on a true story or inspired by true events. And it turns out that it never really is because they have a movie to make and they're more interested in making a movie than telling a true story. But a buddy of mine highly recommended it to me back in the day. And then because as you guys know, I mean, I'm really into like, rock and roll and heavy metal, and I'm a really big fans of 80s hair metal. I watch a YouTube channel called The Hair Metal Guru, and around Halloween, him and his buddies did a show where they were talking about their like favorite horror movies. And one of his buddies was talking about this movie and even had a tattoo on his arm of the movie. That's how much he loved it. And I was like, dang, you loved that movie that much that you went out and got a tattoo? I gotta see this now. So I picked it up on DVD. The second DVD that I got was Stephen King's Golden Years. I've known that this movie existed for a long time, but I just never got around to watching it, and I'm not sure why. But I found it on DVD today at a thrift store, and so I just picked it up. I was like, this is something that I could definitely... I like just about all of Stephen King's movies. I'm trying to think of one that I didn't like, and nothing comes to mind. So I always felt like, a Stephen King movie was always at least worth a watch. I don't remember not liking one ever. Okay, so now we're going to get into books. And usually when I do my book haul, I usually start with middle grade, then I move to YA, then I move to adult. But I'm going to throw one little curveball and just show you some repeats that I picked up. So I picked up a new copy of Piano Lessons Can Be Murder because I wasn't sure if I had a reading copy of it or not. And because this is an ex-library copy, I said, okay, that would make a good reading copy. And it's in pretty good condition. It's not really falling apart or anything. But it does have, the library card inside and the library stickers. So I just went ahead and picked it up as a reading copy. Then I found yet another Fun House by Diane Ho at a local thrift store, and it was, less than $2. So I just said, and what the hey, I'll take it. I'll try to get to this one soon. Then I picked up another copy of R.L. Stein's The Knife because I wasn't sure if I had a reading copy of it or not. And then I picked up another copy of R.L. Stein's Bad Dreams. I think I found all three of these in the same thrift store haul. And it's getting rarer and rarer to find Fear Street books at thrift stores. And I think that maybe channels like mine have kind of kept the craze, the nostalgia craze going after the Netflix release of the original Fear Street trilogy movies. And I think that it's the nostalgia recollecting is still in full gear, probably because of channels like mine, Slime and Slashers, Cameron Chaney, the Bookubus, and all those people are way bigger than me on YouTube. But I think that this community, I think that we're basically creating the problem of not being able to find these out in thrift stores anymore. All right. Oh, and I forgot to show you that Tone Ninja. It came with a sticker, toneninja.com, and I love their logo. It's music notes, but it looks like, a guy throwing like ninja kicks. I need to get a hard case for this thing, and I'm going to put this on that hard case because that's really cool. All right, but let's get into the middle grade books right now. So here's another repeat, but this is a library edition hard copy, and I started working on trying to remove the stickers and stuff. I'll do the rest later, but I actually have a mint condition paperback copy of this book already, and I've already read the tagline and the synopsis in another book haul, so in the interest of saving time, I'm just going to move on. But I think most people pronounce her name Peg Carrots. Peg Carret. I have no idea, but I think most people say Peg Carrot. This book is called Stolen Children, and it is one that I really want to read. So now that I have a hardcover, and it's an ex-library copy, I have my reading copy, and if I can get these library stickers off, it might even be my primary collector's copy. All right. Here's a series that I've never heard of before, and it's called Cyber Zone. And this one is called Meltdown Man. It's printed by Troll, and the author's name is S.F. Black. And I actually don't think I have any desire to read it. It was just kind of an impulse buy at the thrift store because I was like, oh, hey, this is something that's, that could be up my alley, but I think that it's like more sci-fi than anything, and I'm not really a sci-fi guy. It was published in 1997. My bad. All right. So, moving on, I found this really interesting graphic novel. It's a Tales from the Crypt parody of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, but it's called Diary of a Stinky Dead Kid. And I guess it's multiple stories in... I guess it's multiple stories. So one is called Die Life by Stefan Petrusha and Maya Kinney Petrusha and Miran Kim. I don't know if those are the artists. Then there's Diary of a Stinky Dead Kid. No, it says Diary of a Stinky Dead Kid here, and then on the back it says Diary of a Stinky Deady Kid. There's a Y at the end of dead. And then story number 3 is called Carrier. And here's the artwork inside. This does sound interesting. I'm not gonna lie. Oh wow, they have another one. Something Wicca this way comes. That's Ghouls Gone Wild. Zombie-licious. These are other graphic novels. I didn't know they had these. And this is from 2009. Uh, so that was an interesting find. All right, so I found a few R.L. Stein books. Let's see. Let me just grab all the R.L. Steins. All right, so let me just grab all the R.L. Steins. All right, so I found this hardback Goosebumps Monster Blood collection. It's only Monster Blood 1 through 3, but I found it at Goodwill, and it actually costed a whole $4. But it's in great condition, like mint condition. So this was a really cool find. I found this at the thrift store that's closest to my apartment complex, and it's called Young Scrooge. And I don't know if this is middle grade or young adult, but I suspect it's middle grade because the font is so big. It is pretty thick, but with the font being so big, I bet you it's a pretty quick read. And there's a kind of a menacing hooded ghost figure out in the snow, and there's a little boy. For a modern book, this one has a pretty cool cover. I typically hate, like, modern book covers, but this one's pretty cool actually. It's not Tim Jacobus, but it's the cover design is by Eileen Savage. That cannot be a real name. Eileen Savage. If so, I mean, good for them. That is a very metal name to have. And it's ironically awesome and awesomely ironic. Wow. Okay, here's this. Is there a tagline on the front? The tagline on the front is, "He's about to have the worst Christmas ever." And the synopsis on the back reads, "Holiday cheer becomes holiday fear in this funny, scary send up of a Christmas carol from best selling Goosebumps author R.L. Stein. Rick Scroogeman hates Christmas. He can't stand the carols and the pageants. He can't stand the lights and the mistletoe. But what he hates the most is having to watch the old movie A Christmas Carol every year at school. Since his name is Scroogeman, all of his classmates start calling him Scrooge, and he hates being called Scrooge. But everything starts to change when three ghosts visit him. At first, he thinks it's a dream, but then he realizes that it might be a nightmare that could become real." That actually sounds like a really good Christmas read. It's a shame that I didn't find it until after the holidays, but that's something that I might look forward to reading this year's holiday season. And this was a really exciting find. Okay, I found another Ghosts of Fear Street novel. This is number 30 in the series, and it's called I Was a Sixth Grade Zombie. So there's a band I like called the Murder Dolls. They had Joey Jordison from Slipknot, but he didn't play drums. He played guitar. And then they had the guitar player from Static X on lead guitar. And they were kind of like a horror punk metal band. And they had a song called She Was a Teenage Zombie. And then, like, what is that a parody or a reference of? This is I Was a Sixth Grade Zombie. Class of the Living Dead. That's the tagline. Wow. Um, it, this is when the covers on these books started to go downhill. Kind of a later one, but yeah, some kid wrote his name on the inside because of course he did. But I found it very cheap, so I guess I can't complain. Then this was pretty exciting for me because I found a Goosebumps Series 2000 book. This is number 14 in the Goosebumps Series 2000, and it's called Jekyll and Heidi. And, there's a scared little girl, there's a man turning into a beast on the cover. These were good looking covers. So I have a few Goosebumps Series 2000 books, but I have very few. I think I might have more Ghosts of Fear Street than I have Goosebumps Series 2000, but I just found this one this afternoon, and that was an exciting find. Then I found another Give Yourself Goosebumps book, and I don't really care about this series. I have zero desire to read them. I'm just picking them up for the collection if I ever see them out in the wild. I didn't already have this one. This one is book number 5, Night in Werewolf Woods. I like the cover. I like the colors on the cover. I didn't already have it, and now I think I'm missing one. But and it's not in the best condition, and it doesn't bother me, doesn't keep me up at night. If I ever find one in better condition, I'm sure I'll grab it. But yeah, I just bought it for the collection, that's all. And here's a repeat. So I think uh, okay, so I already have this book. This is a Shadow Zone book, which is another series, kind of a middle grade horror series. This one is called Revenge of the Computer Phantoms. I just found it again this afternoon. I already had it. I was disappointed when I pulled it off the shelf and said, "Ah, I already have this one." But it's in much better condition than the one that I already have, so I'm glad I picked it up. Then here's another repeat. Dead Time Stories. It Came from the Deep, and I think that I got this one last summer, and then I found it again today, and so I guess I have two now. All right, and then here's an interesting one. So in the Point Horror series, there's an author named Peter Larangis who did two books, Driver's Dead and The Yearbook. Okay, well, just because I own these two books, when I saw his name on the spine of this book on the shelf at the thrift store, I said, oh wow, that's the Point Horror author guy. He wrote The Yearbook, and I forgot about Driver's Dead, but this one is called Watchers Rewind, and this is book number 2 in the series. And so I think that this is a middle grade horror book. And I thought, wow, it's really cool that he wrote some middle grade horror. Too bad I couldn't find book number 1 while I was there. But I went ahead and picked this up. And if I ever find book number 1, I'll pick that one up as well. All right, and then I got one more middle grade for you. In the Monster Hunters series by Nancy Garden, I picked up this one. It's an X library. No, it's not an X library at all. It's actually, so I have one of these books, but it's in paperback, and this one's in hardback because it was published by Weekly Reader Book Club. My mother had me enrolled in that for a while, so I used to get some books in the mail, like something The Island Fires and The Plant That Ate Dirty Socks, and I had those like as a kid get mailed to me because my mother had me enrolled in that. And when I saw this one, I was like, I kind of can't resist. I don't know if I'm gonna read it, but it's up my alley. So, all right. Now, let's go ahead and move into the young adult horror. All right, so this was really exciting for me. I ended up ordering it online, but I recently uploaded a book review of a book called The Band by Carmen Adams. Right. Well, Carmen Adams has also written a one-point horror book called The Claw. So I have the British cover here, and then I have the American cover here. And I think that this is like her most famous and most accessible book. Well, I was online and looking for books from her, and I found that she also has this one. What is this? What just fell out of it? Okay. And it's called Song of the Vampire. And I mean, that is a great looking cover. I love it. And this was actually the cheapest copy I online that I could find. And they didn't even have like an actual photo of this book. It was just like a stock photo. And so I expected it to come in horrible condition. It didn't. It came in great condition. I would actually call it collector's condition because I'd be like, yeah, yeah, okay. I'd be satisfied with having that as my collector copy. So now I'm thinking I'll just read it as cheap as I got it, and then if I love it, I'll just spend some money and buy like a $30 copy in collector's condition. All right, so here's a repeat. All right, so I've owned the Stepbrother in the Fear Street Super Chillers. Or yeah, so they put out like four of these books. There's also like one called Scream, Jennifer Scream, Camp Out, and I forgot the other one, but I have them all. And I kind of had to pay good money for a few of them. Well, I've had this one for a while, but I found it again at the thrift store closest to my apartment the other day. But I turn it over and it says special edition. And I was like, I bet you the one on my bookshelf at home doesn't say special edition. So I wanted to see what's so special about it. And it's like, well, some kid wrote their name on the side of the page, for one. For two, I open it up and there's like a postcard inside with a survey you can fill out. Now, this one, the non special edition one, it doesn't have a postcard with a survey that you can fill out and send in. So that's interesting. That's interesting that these exist. Or, well, it's interesting that this one exists. All right. I don't know if I've shown you this one in my most recent haul or not, because I don't remember when I got it, but it's called Mirror of Danger by Pamela Sykes. Okay, love it. Pamela Sykes. Okay, the guitar player from Whitesnake. His name was John Sykes. Then he got like fired and went and started his own like hair metal band called Blue Murder, and they were pretty good. And then he passed away last year, so rest in peace, John Sykes. But here's what the cover looks like on Mirror of Danger. Let me go ahead and take another sip of my Sprite. And here's the tagline on the front. A ghost schemes to possess Lucy and keep her in the past forever. And she's looking in the mirror and it looks like there is a ghost reflecting back at her. And this is an Archway paperback printing. And here's the synopsis on the back. Drawn into evil, the mirror looked ordinary, leaning against the attic wall. But when Lucy looked into it, another girl's face appeared next to hers, laughing. A girl in a long, old fashioned dress, a girl who had lived 100 years before. She swept Lucy into a wonderful, fascinating world of times gone by. At first, it was fun to look in the mirror and go back in time, but Lucy soon found that her strange new friend had a sinister plan to keep her in the past forever. So, how many books do I have with that same storyline? And wasn't there at least like 2 episodes of Are You Afraid of the Dark with like the same storyline? There was one where like this girl like went to go stay with her cousin, and then her cousin and her friends were like mean girls, and the house next door was haunted, and they wanted her to like stay the night in it to prove that she was cool, so that they would like she could earn the right to hang out with them. And something like that kind of happened. Well, I know I own other books with that same storyline. This one is in such great condition that I want to wait till I find a reading copy to read it. All right. So here's another repeat. So, well, sort of. A while ago, like it might have been like 2023, 2024, I think. I went to a new thrift store that I'd never been to in town, and I found this book. It's called The Ghosts by Antonia Barber. And this is another Archway paperback. And I just think that cover just looks so good. Well, I was at the thrift store closest to my apartment today, and I found this one. And because the cover looks different, I was like, oh, hey, another Antonia Barber. And I was like, let me go ahead and buy this one too. And I've never heard of this author. One second. Hello?
I'm sorry, I think I have the wrong apartment. Sorry about that.
I'm literally making this. I'm literally making this video right next to my front door, and then someone starts knocking on my door, and I'm like, who would be knocking on my door right now? And then it turned out to be a totally wrong apartment. So, anyway, yeah, I think that it's just an alternate cover. What's going on here? Yeah, they have the same synopsis on the back. Why is there an alternative cover? I need to see where this was printed. This one says printed in the USA. First pocketbooks printing 1975. Copyright 1969. An Archway paperback published by Pocketbooks. So, I guess this one's from 1975? Really? And then the one that... And then this one that I found a couple years ago is a reprint from 1993. Oh, okay. All right, that's interesting. All right, well... Then I have one more two more middle grade books or not middle grade YA young adult horror books. I finally have a copy of Night School by Caroline B. Cooney. I've wanted this one for a long time. I never found it out in the wild. I got online to look for it, and these are actually kind of expensive. I think that a lot of them go for like over $20 or $30. And so I just bought the cheapest one that I could find by Thrift Books. and I get it, and I'm expecting it to be beat to heck, and the only thing wrong with it is just some, paint torn off the front cover right there. It, if it wasn't for that, it would be in mint condition. So I don't know. I feel like I'm more happy than not. So I look forward to reading this one. And then I have one more YA young adult horror book, and it's also by Caroline B. Cooney, but it's an ex hardback library copy of called Enter Three Witches. And I've never even known about this one. I'd never heard of it. I just want to see, what year was this published? It was 2007. Okay. First edition though. All right. Let's go ahead and read the synopsis on this one. 14-year-old Lady Mary is a ward of Lord and Lady Macbeth, whose life is forever changed when her father betrays the king and is hanged as a traitor. In an instant, Mary has lost both her father and future. There will be no betrothal to the son of a nobleman, no children, no castle to call her own. Instead, Mary is sent to the scullery to serve as a maid. But Mary's destiny is not to be so simple, for there are bigger matters afoot. When King Duncan is murdered, the entire court is thrown into turmoil, and Mary slowly comes to realize that her future lies in the hands of a power-hungry couple willing to crush anyone who gets in their way, including Mary. As the events of Shakespeare's play unfold around her, Mary must do what she can to prevent more deaths, but can a lone girl save lives when a legion of Scottish lords cannot? I actually haven't read Macbeth. I do have a copy on DVD, but the audio is like really bad on it, so I don't really understand the dialogue because can't hear it all that well. So I don't know the story of Macbeth very well at all. So I don't think I can get around to reading this anytime soon. I mean, I know the gist, I know some parts, but I know Romeo and Juliet and Taming of the Shrew much better. Okay, so that's it for a young adult. Let's go ahead and get into middle grade. Or I'm sorry, let's go ahead and get into actual adult. I've already done middle grade. I've already done young adult. Now we're getting into real adults. All right, so this is a really good looking. This book has a really good looking cover. It's called "Cry for the Strangers" by John Saul. Now, I don't go out there and buy everything that I see with John Saul's name, but I do have a couple of his books, and this one just looks so good. Let's go ahead and read the tagline on the front. And the little children shall lead them from terror to terror to terror. And here's the synopsis on the back. Could such a lovely little town hold something so evil? Clark's Harbor was the perfect coastal haven, jealousy guarded against outsiders, but now strangers have come to settle there, and a small boy is suddenly free of a frenzy that had gripped him since birth. His sister is haunted by fearful visions, and one by one, in violent, mysterious ways, the strangers are dying. Never the townspeople, only the strangers. Has a dark bargain been struck between the people of Clark's Harbor and some supernatural force? Or is it the sea itself calling out for human sacrifice, a howling, deadly cry for the strangers? And let's just go ahead and... So this is from 1979. And it says that this is a first printing. Interesting. It's in pretty good condition for 1979. All right. So then this one looks really good. It's by an author named James Herbert, and I could have sworn that I had one of his books before. And I don't know how to pronounce that word. Sepulchra. I have no idea how to pronounce that, but it's got a good looking cover. And he has a blurb on the front by Stephen King. It's published by Jove Horror. And the synopsis on the back reads: There is a house deep in the English countryside that is filled with dark and terrible secrets. A psychic blessed with the power to spot gold, diamonds, and oil beneath the earth's surface. His bodyguard, Halaron, whose gnawing curiosity seals his fate in a tomb of unearthly fear. An ancient evil so horrifying that dreaming of it can cause madness, death, and worse. Sepulchre. No clue how to pronounce that, but it does sound good. I guess all the chapters are like titled. Okay. Well, that sounds interesting. Um, then I found this one, and I think that the cover looks really good. It's called The Piercing by John Coyne. I think that that's a good looking cover. And is this a sequel? I think that this might be a sequel. No, maybe not. Okay. So that's a good looking cover. So it looks like, this woman lying in bed and her hands are tied to like the headboard, and she looks very alarmed. And here's the synopsis on the back: Nothing hurts worse than perfect love. Betty Sue is a nationwide sensation. What happened to her unwilling body once a week, every week, is haunting, horrifying, and fascinating to millions. The TV says it's a miracle. The church says it's a fake. Both are wrong. Only a priest tormented by lust who is willing to trade body for soul can penetrate the unholy secret of the piercing. That sounds dark, and given what's happening on the cover of the book, wonder what that's all about. All right, so a long time ago, I did an online book haul, and I got this book called Watcher in the Dark by Beverly Hastings. And I showed it to you guys at the time, and I found what I believe is an adult book, also published by Jove Horror. Let's see, Berkeley published the Watcher in the Dark. This one is called Don't Walk Home Alone, and the tagline on the front just reads, "The chilling novel of a child's ordeal of terror." And here's this synopsis on the back. Waiting. When a 7-year-old girl witnesses a hit-and-run accident, nobody expects her to remember the details. But Jessica remembers her friend's broken body and the driver's cold, mocking face. Kate, the college student who looks after Jessica, is afraid. Kate knows what the phone calls, the sick whispers, and the twisted nursery rhymes mean. She knows the man is waiting, waiting for the day Kate forgets to pick up Jessica after school, waiting for the day she is late, waiting for little Jessica to walk home alone. That sounds pretty good, actually. It sounds like more of a suspense kind of thriller. And, wow, this is from November of 1985. So this is actually even older than I am. So that's pretty cool. The corner of the cover was ripped off, but I can live with that, especially as a reading copy. Here's a fun one. So I found a Sherlock Holmes book written by Mark A. Latham, and this one is called Betrayal in Blood. Because remember, Sherlock Holmes is a public domain at this point, so anybody can write a Sherlock Holmes novel if they wish to. And I'm gonna have to remove the sticker to read a little bit of the synopsis. All right, so I think that's just gonna have to be good enough for now. All right, so this one is called Betrayal in Blood, and there's really nothing much to the cover, but here's the synopsis on the back. Man or monster? It's 1894, and the news of a Transylvanian nobleman's death at the hands of a certain Professor Van Helsing is the talk of London. Unsatisfied at the acquittal of the professor, Mycroft Holmes asks Sherlock to investigate what truly led to the deaths of Lucy Westerna and the mysterious aristocrats. Newspapers are full of inconsistencies and wild supernatural theories, and as Holmes digs deeper, he suspects that those hailed as heroes are not what they seem. The clues point to an innocent man framed and murdered for crimes he did not commit, and Holmes and Watson find themselves targeted at every turn as what began as a quest to clear one man's name reveals a conspiracy that draws them to the mountains of Transylvania and the infamous Castle Dracula. All right, so I bought it just because of the Dracula Sherlock Holmes tie-in. Um, I forgot his name, Nicholas something. He wrote a book called The Notorious Canary Trainer, and it was where Sherlock Holmes went to Paris and met the Phantom of the Opera, and that was a good book. I really enjoyed that one, and so I wanted to read this one too, so I went ahead and picked it up. All right, then I found this one, and this one looks really good. It's called Gemini by Domini Taylor. And it's got these scary children on the front cover, and so here's the synopsis on the front, or here's the tagline on the front. Peter and Pandora, golden twins who share a dark gift. Alone they're uncanny, together they're unmerciful. And on the synopsis on the back reads, twice the blessing, twice the terror. Peter and Pandora Collins, blonde, angelic, the perfect twins, truly the children who have everything and richly deserve it. Then why does their baby brother have that unfortunate accident? Why does their mother meet a fate just as tragic? And what horror awaits their American cousins with their ambitious plans for Sterney Court, the lush English estate, and the twins' cherished home? Their loving Aunt Eleanor begins to suspect the disturbing answers. Slowly, terrifyingly, she'll uncover the shared unnatural power that Peter and Pandora wield against all who threaten them, and she herself will feel the full fury of evil. And that sounds amazing. Let's go ahead and see. This is from 1984, but mine was printed in 1986, 3 months after I was born. So, this is a 40-year-old paperback, and it's in great condition. It is printed by Fawcett Crest. So that definitely sounds like a must read. All right. So I picked up these. They're all by an author named Claire McNally, and so it's like a series. You got Ghost House, you got Ghost Light, and this is a good looking cover. And then there's Ghost House Revenge. So I mean, I guess it's a trilogy, but author of Ghost House. Author of Ghost House. Yeah, so I guess it's a trilogy. But and I've never heard of it, but then I found this one called "What About the Baby," and it's got a pretty scary looking cover on it. You know, there's like a young mother holding her baby, and she looks scared. So let's see what this one's all about. When a young mother falls prey to evil, one horrifying question remains: what about the baby? And on the back, this one reads, Evil has come for her baby. 1824. A young mother returns home to find her infant son brutally murdered in his cradle. Her tortured grief turns to a blood curdling cry for vengeance. Now, for beautiful Gabrielle Hansen, 17, orphaned and pregnant, her lonely world becomes a place of unimagined terror. Bizarre chants invade her mind. Death plagues her dreams. Blood desecrates her room. For she has been adopted by an undying evil from the past, an evil that has come for only one precious thing: her baby. Okay, that sounds really good. Claire McNally, huh? What's going on here? Okay. And this is from 1983. Okay. So I have two more books for you. Well, no, sorry, just one. That I already showed you that one. All right, and this one is called No Sanctuary by Richard Lehman. Okay, so my Richard Lehman collection has really grown, and I'm actually wondering, have I already shown you guys this one in my most recent book haul? Did I forget to put this like away after showing it to you guys? Since I can't remember, and since this is the last one anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and read the synopsis on the back. Okay, so the title of this one is No Sanctuary. If you've missed Layman, you've missed a treat. Stephen King. Rick would do anything for his girlfriend Birds. He'd even spend his vacation in the wilderness with her, hiking the trails around Fern Lake, even though it's the last place on earth he wants to be. But Rick would follow Bert to hell and back, which is just what he's about to do. Jillian is on vacation too, but her pastimes are decidedly weirder than Rick and Bert's. She likes to break into people's homes and live there while they're away. Too bad for her, she picked the home of a serial killer, a particularly nasty one who likes to take his victims out to the wilds of Fern Lake so he can have his fun without being interrupted. Rick and Bert have no idea how wild the wilderness can be, but they're about to find out. Okay, so that sounds really good. Man, I gotta get some time to set aside and start reading me some Richard Lehman this year, man. Because all of the synopses on his books, they're all so gripping. Like I need to find out like if I like him or not, because I know that you either love him or hate him. And I'm not gonna lie, I bet on the fact that I'm gonna like him. But this video has gone on for a long time. I think this might be the longest haul video I've ever done. My apologies for that, but I hope that you did have fun watching it. So let me know if any of these books sounded particularly interesting to you in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. Horns up and peace out.